this is going to be a map chat on Airfield, and I'm going to give my positions and where I go to. Not everyone's going to agree, but this is where I go. Starting out at the beginning, we have a light tank if you spawn west on the red side. One of the first good places to go is to rush up and get into E5. You can spot things coming from over here and over here as you go up. You can also spot things rushing right there. You can spot things coming out of their base and back down here and then trying to push up on the hill. You can also get shots onto the hill right here. So it's a great spot for forward scouting for right at the beginning. Another place is to go all the way north behind this rock. You can use either bush to scout onto this area. If they're pushing north really heavy, that's a decent spot to get to do good scouting for your artillery and everything. So another option is to push middle right at the beginning. So you'll push middle, come right here. You'll try to spot that already get in position over here, tanks pushing down or tanks sitting in their base. Sometimes you can get lucky and spot a couple tanks right here. But either spot works fine. There's really no risky spotting locations, but those are usually the best as far as what you want to do. Now moving on to TD. There's quite a few options for TDs. It really depends on how you're going to play the map. For most TDs, sitting back here is a good option, as you can get good shots down this corner right here. So you'll be aiming in here to take shots, and at some points, some tanks might push up here, so you can take shots here as well. But the majority of your shots are going to be aimed towards here. I also found it's a little bit more risky strat, but you can push up here behind these bushes, then up behind these rocks, and take shots onto this area. You have to be in at least like a 268 or a 263, something with good camo, because you're pretty out in the open, but it can work depending on what's around this corner. If it's a heavy tank that's pretty blind, it's a good spot to go to take shots at it and help push this side back. Because most of the heavy tanks right here will try to push around this corner to take this side, and it's pretty hard for your team to defend right there. So blocking off a whole side that they can push on can really help fling your team into a win. So right there's an option. You can come up here to this area. It's a little bit more risky. You definitely want to be in a good armored TD before you decide to do that. But it's an option that's there. Now another option is to go into this area right here and try to keep this from pushing. You're not going to see much damage right there because a lot of tanks don't push there anymore. Every once in a while you'll see a quick push down this line or a mid-game push down the line, but you won't really see much action there. So I don't recommend going there. I really don't recommend going anywhere on this side. You could go right there if you wanted to.
Disconnected.
But I wouldn't recommend it. You just on this side you're just not going to see much. Most of the action is going to happen up here. If they do a hard push down here, from right here you can defend a lot of it. So for the majority of times, I would say stay up here in this area. But just in case, you can sit back here and shoot. There you could sit here as well and shoot to there. But you won't get much damage or do much in a game from that position. All right, moving on to mediums. One of the best places to go into medium is this hill right here. Same as the scout. If you can get there from the very beginning, you could do a lot from here. You can stop a push coming from around this corner. You can stop pushes right there. You can keep people off this hill. And you can keep stuff from coming around this corner or light tanks back here you can pick off. There's a lot you could do from here. You got good arty cover as well. They have to really push around the corner to get shots on you, and you can determine, what shots you're going to take and not take. So it's a great spot. It's one I use quite often. Another option is to fight on this hill. Pretty much the same as a scout. You'll come right here, spot what you can spot, but you'll need decent depression as in a medium to do well here. So like a 140 is really cutting it, but like a leopard or something along those lines, 202, anything like that. Would do decently here. But you're basically just trying to battle this. If you're right here, your main objective is to shoot stuff right here and right here that gets up on this hill. They try peeking around. So you have to be wary of that as you're right here as well, because you can get shot from there, you can get shot from there, you can get shot from here. This whole area can pretty much hit you. So it's a little bit risky of a spot. Sometimes it can have a high payoff by shooting down into this area as their heavies try pushing in. You can usually get shots off across pretty easily. So it's a high risk, high reward position. Like I said, those are pretty much the only two positions. You want to focus either your mediums here or right here, and stay pretty decently aggressive to them, putting out as much damage as you possibly can. But don't throw them away to heavies. There's no reason for you to take hits in either one of these positions. So just keep paying attention to what's around you. All right, heavy is pretty straightforward. Right here, the main majority of heavies should fight right here. You could put a couple heavies down here. Mostly the mediums and TDs should be able to handle this area themselves, but you could put like one heavy right here to slowly try to push in. It's usually a depth drop down here because of Artie. Artie will sit right here and right here. So I would say stick with heavies going north and pushing this side. It's usually one of the best strats, and it's where most heavies will go anyways. So backing them up will, can't hurt. You want to be careful about pushing around this corner because of artillery. And pushing around this corner, they could have TDs back here or back here. So you just gotta, what you're walking into as you push this. So just be aware of that. But that's where pretty much. All right, I think we're gonna clear canvas and work on the other side now. Actually, let's keep it all red. Alright, again, starting off with light tanks. There's a couple good positions you can get to. Same as the other side, it's just reverse pretty much. The very start, rush in, get into this area, and scout everything. Scout around this corner, spot everything you possibly can spot at the very beginning of the match. The vision is not as good from this position as it is from this position, but it's still good enough. You can usually spot a couple things hiding at base or something pushing up this line or something on the hill, and give as much intel as possible. Other option is to rush in and get behind one of these rocks. It's not as safe as the other side, mainly because you're pushed up much further on this side. You could stay behind this rock as well. That's right there on this on the side of the mountain. You can stay back there, hide behind the bush, and spot the stuff right there. It's also a great option. It's more passive. You won't really be able to shoot much because if you get spotted, a lot of things will be shooting at you. So it's a really good spot, solid spot for passively scouting over here. So it's another good option. South, you don't have too many options, but you'll come out the front. You'll go up here, do a quick spot in this area for anything that comes up. You can run around back and forth right here and just keep everything lit right there and stuff that you can spot in their base. Sometimes you can get lucky and spot an arty back here if you're really lucky by getting up onto here. So that's pretty much it for scouts. Next, TDs. TDs have quite a few options on the side, probably a little bit better at attacking on the side. Probably should have turned that off, but we'll continue anyways. A TD, a heavily armored TD, can sit and use this spot pretty effectively. You don't want to do it at the beginning of the match. It's more of a mid-match move. Once these guys are whittled down a little bit, push around into this spot, you can hide behind that rock pretty effectively. If they have TDs down, or not TDs, but artillery down in this area, they do have a strong chance of hitting you. But it's a pretty solid spot. I've come to like it a lot, hiding in the groove of that rock. But basically, you're aiming to fire at everything that comes up right here. You just want to finish them off. That's the whole objective of being in this spot. You're finishing off all the tanks that were sitting right here or right here. And it's a strong spot to do it from. Another option is to sit on this hill right here. You'll get not as many shots, so you get far fewer shots, but the ones that do come right here or right here in this area, you'll have great shots on. So I wouldn't say camp there or sit there long, but I would, check it out. If you're in a good camo TD, you can get a lot of shots around the map from there. Obviously, another option is to come up here. Again, you have to wait for the tanks to come around the corner onto you before you can get shots, because you definitely don't want to take a TD around this corner. But if they do come around the corner, you used to get a shot. You'll end up taking one in place, but you know it's an okay spot. Heavily armored TDs can do okay there. Um, Again, you can camp base on this map. I wouldn't recommend it. You can stay back here and shoot. You know, if you're losing, you can come back here. Same on the side. If you're losing, you can come back here in this area and shoot stuff as it comes, you know, towards you. Whether it be right here or back here around this side, doesn't really matter. But it's only if you're losing. But I don't think it's a good place to camp because you won't be doing much in the game at all. You'll be waiting for stuff to happen, which in a lot of maps it just won't happen. Up here is another viable option if you're losing. Again, I would not sit anywhere in this area throughout a normal match. Unless they were pushing south really hard. That's the only time you'd see me anywhere near those areas. North is definitely where most all the action happens in this map, and that's where you want to focus your tanks and focus the win. If you win north, you're usually going to have a really good chance of winning the game. Alright, medium's pretty much the same. At the very start, getting into this position is pretty strong. It gives shots here and here and shots around this corner. Obviously, I don't recommend staying here the entire time because unless something comes right here, you're not going to have shots just like you would in a TD right here. But you can go down this side unless there's a TD in this area, which you definitely want to know before you come around. But you can come around this side and take shots at the heavies, or you can even sit up on this back rock and take shots if there's heavies in this area. You're fast enough to relocate to pull up here and take a couple shots, then leave, and so on and so forth. But the east has a pretty strong hill right here, so fighting on this hill is a good option as well. Coming up here and taking shots at stuff right there, or further up taking shots at stuff that's on that hill, because usually there always will be a tank in here, so it gives you plenty of options. You're pretty flexible right here. If you see that they have nothing over here, you can always push in into this area to spot and try to pull some of their heavies back down. That's a viable option, but it's really risky as well because you're out there alone. There's nowhere for you to go. You can't run this way and get away. You can't run back without getting shot by everything that can see you. So it's a risky option, but those are all viable options. Heavy, I'm not even going to say go south on heavy. I wouldn't. Maybe take one heavy down here to sit and just hold this side. But the majority need to go up here. They'll rush right at the very beginning. They either go around this side once they realize there's no TDs on this side, or they'll slowly push up to the side, check this, then try to get shots off around this corner. That's all they really can do. You more on this side, you more want them to push around the corner onto you. It gives you better chances to shoot. You get more chances to do damage. That's the best way to do it. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. More to come every Tuesday.